I think it's really important that we stop and reflect on ourselves and where we're going in life, so that if there is a problem with what we're doing or our patterns, if we're in addictions, you name it, we can stop and assess them. But many people choose to not hit the brakes in life, and they just keep going and going and going. It is so important, ladies and gentlemen, that you stop and reflect. Without reflection, you will continue doing what you're doing. And if you continue what you're doing without reflecting in life, you may end up making bad decisions. I know, because I've been there. I never took the time to stop and reflect when I was an alcoholic. I never really took the time to stop and reflect when I was a cigarette smoker, constantly chain smoking, walking around breathing smoke out of my nose and my mouth like a dragon, polluting everywhere I went, my car, my friends' houses and whatnot. It's just like I never actually stopped and reflected. I constantly had a intuitive urge to stop, because that's your higher self trying to speak through your lower self and its stranglehold on your life. We constantly get intuitive surges about things that we can do to improve our lives, but we choose to repress those thoughts because we're no longer in tune with the sacred space of the heart and the soft intuitive voice, the inner compass of our inner mind, our inner God. I hope that makes sense. I never stopped and reflected enough when I was a pot smoker. Cannabis ruined my life, ladies and gentlemen. It destroys your lungs. It just becomes a bad pattern. And if you smoke cannabis and you have a problem with this, that's fine. But for me, and 99% of the people I know that smoke weed, that smoke cannabis, it's not doing much for them. Regardless of how many ways to Sunday you try to say that it's my medicine, I'm self-medicating. From what? Are you ill? Are you ill? Because you've been smoking weed for like 5-6 years habitually, nonstop, and you're still sick. It obviously hasn't healed you. And on top of that, the majority of the cannabis today is hybridized, genetically engineered, and it has way too much of the active compounds in it, the psychoactive compounds. The ratios are all messed up. It turns you into a zombie. Now, I'm not saying that I'm completely against this particular plant. I am, however, saying that the way that it's used by 99% of the users is absolutely backwards, non-beneficial, and self-destructive. I don't care if you have a problem with that. I never took enough time to stop and reflect on what I was doing. Nowadays, I try to stop and reflect often and ask myself in a meditative state or a silent state, usually before sleep, am I doing the right thing? What can I do to improve myself? What can I do so that I can get the most out of life? Because I've had so many goddamn near-death experiences. I've had so many paranormal experiences that I'm at this point just wired differently than the average person. And I'm really aware of the fact that life is goddamn precious. And I want to achieve the impossible, ladies and gentlemen. I want to experience profound states of longevity. We're talking about living over 150 years old, 200 years old. I want to become enlightened. I don't want to go down the same path that everyone's going down, where you just get used by the system, taxed by the system. You struggle the majority of your life. You have some good times here and there, maybe some relationships, and then you retire, you die early before 100, and then you get recycled. This to me is not the way we were designed to be living. This to me is a hell realm. After what these eyes have seen, what this heart has felt, and what I've experienced in the states of higher consciousness that Kundalini has allowed me to see, I am aware of the fact that this realm is disharmonic and that it resembles a hell world. And it may not seem like a hell world to you because you get to wake up and go to work every day, and you can go to the store and buy your coffee creamer and your whatever the fuck. But to most people, this is hell. But you wouldn't know that because you get all of your information about how you view the world through your television screen, through your computer, your smartphone, and your newspaper. You have a conditioned view of the world. And on top of that, it's a hell world for many people, even though they live in the matrix, even though they're plugged into the simulation, and even though they're getting the pleasures of the matrix, the false pleasures of the lower self, they're still miserable because you know intuitively deep down in your heart that there's more to this experience than just doing what you're doing or living the life that was laid out for you. instead of following your true inner guidance in achieving the attainment of your true will, your true purpose as to why you came here, ladies and gentlemen. I have experienced states of consciousness that have forever changed my life. And I've seen things that the average individual is not aware of. And it's not me getting on here to brag. It's me being honest because I want my message to inspire people. I want to inspire you to remember that there's more to life than what we're currently experiencing. This world was designed to be a paradise, ladies and gentlemen. A massive, living, breathing, shamanic garden where the earth literally grew everything that we needed to sustain ourselves and more. Where a world where we would interact with nature through shamanism and engaging in specific rituals that allowed us to unravel the secrets and the mysteries of nature. We're talking about a sci-fi film that'll blow your goddamn mind away if you knew how advanced this world that we live in and what we were designed to experience here in the Garden of Eden. You ever seen the movie Avatar, the way that plants and whatnot react to them touching them and they light up through bioluminescence? This was the type of reality we were designed to live in. But we no longer can see that kind of interaction between when we touch a plant anymore because we can't see the plant's aura. We don't even perceive that it's living. We just think that things grow. We're not aware of the fact that plants have consciousness, that plants want to live. They don't like to get cut down. Plants can be interacted with, ladies and gentlemen. Any shaman worth his or her salt knows this. It's commonplace, it's common knowledge within the shamanic community. Shamans know that plants have consciousness and that you can enter states of consciousness that resemble theirs by ingesting them, and you can actually communicate with them. Imagine that. Plants are more evolved than you. But that contradicts your conditioning. So you probably think that because you stand upright and you shit in a bowl and you wipe your ass with dead trees that have had, toxins added to the water so that it goes into your mucous membranes and shuts off your chakras, you probably think that you know everything because you went to college. You probably think you know everything because that's what the system generates. The system generates narcissism. The system generates this type of consciousness, this arrogance, where people think they know everything. And I'm not trying to sound like a dick, and I'm not trying to judge, but I cannot doubt the evidence of my own eyes, folks. I'm getting... Excuse me. You can see the turmeric at the bottom of this. It all settled on the bottom. Not sure if you guys can see this because I'm recording it in black and white, but... The ancients knew that we came here to experience much more than what we are currently experiencing. It looks like my goddamn camera is glitching. Bear with me 1 second, folks. Let's see if that fixes things. The ancients knew that we came here to experience much more than what we're currently experiencing. It's written on the walls of Egypt. It's, carved into the Buddhist statues and statuettes. This is a symbol of the Kundalini energy, ladies and gentlemen, the Christ consciousness. The Kundalini energy actually sits at the pelvic floor of mankind in a 3.5 rotation. The energy. Notice how there's 3 columns here of serpent skin. This camera keeps blocking me and saying that the frames are being dropped, so wait, bear with me. He's also holding the medicine bowl, which is speculated that medicine bowl is actually containing a particular fruit known as haritaki, a bitter fruit that's shaped like a pineal gland, kind of like an almond. But you'll notice that on the back of this, the cobra goes up the spine and illuminates the consciousness at the top, which is resembled by the 5 serpents here. The snakes climb to the top and create a protective ovum. This is all symbolism, ladies and gentlemen. We are literally walking around as slaves here in this matrix, and no one can see it. Because not even going to say that. All I'm saying is that there are certain states of consciousness that can be achieved where you understand the truth, and we are not living the truth here in this matrix. Red alert, ladies and gentlemen. Red alert. It's time to start taking power back into your own hands. And you can start doing it. You can start attaining greater health by modulating the lighting in your home, getting rid of all the LEDs and the CFLs, the compact fluorescents that are just saturating your skin. And in my opinion, the bad lighting is the contributing cause to the skin cancer issue here in this world, not the sun. We spend most of our time indoors under these artificial lights. By default, that makes more sense to me, considering we're under these lights and surrounding ourselves with the light of these televisions and these screens and these monitors and these phones. We are exposed to so much artificial blue light and toxic wavelengths of these lights. For the majority of our life, we're surrounded by these lights. Now, if 90% of the light that my body absorbs is from these screens and from these LEDs and these garbage lights, if 90% of the light my body receives is from these, wouldn't it make more sense that the skin cancer is probably more closely attributed to that than the goddamn sun, which gives life to everything here, literally everything? You don't see trees getting sunburned. I don't think animals get sunburned. At least animals out in the wild, everything seems to go much better or work much smoother out in the wild, where humans haven't come and fiddled with everything and fucked shit up. Excuse my language. But I'm pissed. I'm tired of seeing this beautiful gem defiled so that these beautiful plots of land with these sacred trees can become shopping malls where people can go to a place and buy and be able to pick from like 400 different cell phone covers. The lavish life that people live, the spoiled, rotten lives that people live, where you think it's that important to go I'm not even going to get into it. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I've been trying to take this channel down a different direction, and I'm not being negative, but I just want to... It's concerning to see how humans behave. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but goddamn, to see the things that people put time and effort into. Meaningless when you get to that state of that higher self, and you get out of that lower mentality, that shit eater, bottom feeder, lower consciousness. You realize that, wow, there's more to life than what's going on here. We're wasting our time. Do you have any clue how sacred it is that you even have a body, that you have the ability to breathe and perceive things? Wow. We live in a garden, a shamanic garden, that has been hijacked and turned into a concrete jungle that is saturated with wireless networks, electromagnetic pollution, radiation, you name it. On top of that, we are so saturated by the artificial lighting that our internal clock, our circadian rhythm, is so out of alignment that we're just like a completely different species than what we were designed to be. You see, light affects us in the same way that food does. In fact, it's almost more important than food. Our bodies are designed to be in a constant biorhythm with the solar cycles and the lunar cycles. So naturally in nature, when the lights go out, when the sun goes down, we naturally are supposed to get drowsy because in the absence of light, our pineal gland in the inner regions of our brain produce a sacred substance known as melatonin, which is a regulatory hormone that controls largely our wake and sleep cycles, and it also exerts an antioxidant effect on the entire physiology, folks. However, when the sun goes down here in the matrix, the sun is still up. The blue light is constantly on. It's like we have a full moon 365 days a year. These artificial lights send a wavelength of light into our photoreceptors where it stimulates a part of our brain known as the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and it tells our brain to stay alert. It tells our brain that it's the wrong time of day, folks. What does that do? It inhibits the proper formulation of melatonin, which is supposed to be produced every night when the sun goes down. When the sun goes down, you're supposed to go down. When the sun comes up, so are you. There were, however, some very fascinating groups of individuals throughout the years who were nocturnal. And that can be done sustainably as well, and I did it for years, but I'm not going to talk about that in this video. So you can retrain your biorhythm to be a lunar biorhythm, which is still somewhat of a solar biorhythm considering the close connection to the sun and the moon. The moon is a giant reflector reflective device. The moon is very, very good for self-introspection and ritual work. I'll talk about that in the future. But I don't think most people understand how significant this light thing is. You better start blocking blue light with some nice blue blocking sunglasses like the UVX Skypers that I have in my Amazon store that I constantly talk about. The nice thing about those lights or those glasses, ladies and gentlemen, and I thought I had a pair here I wanted to show you. I have videos, multiple videos where I show you guys what those look like. The nice thing about the UVX Skypers is that they're cheap and they have a brow guard that inhibits light from coming in through the brow. Most glasses, when you wear glasses like these, I use these on the computer to read, but if I look down, the light's still coming through this gap and entering into my eye. These do inhibit a good amount of LED light though, however, and blue light. But the UVX Skypers, they are dark tinted orange glasses that inhibit the flow of blue light from entering into your eyeballs, ladies and gentlemen. They have a brow guard and they have side shielding too, so no light can come in. It completely sucks up to your face. That's what you want, because even small amounts of blue light, artificial light coming in from these devices, from these computers, from these tablets, these phones, LEDs at night when the sun goes down will actually tell your brain to supercharge. What the fuck was I going to say? Excuse me. You have any clue how unnatural that is? That when the sun goes down, we're supposed to be in darkness, and our melatonin is supposed to be producing. But when the sun goes down, the blue lights come on, and it's the wrong time of day. That's what our body registers, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we tell our brains. And then you go to sleep, get terrible sleep, and wake up at, whenever you wake up. And usually the first thing people do in the morning is they look at their phone. And boom, full moon, boom, high noon sun, all that blue light coming into your eye. When you wake up, ladies and gentlemen, you're supposed to watch the sun come up and be present while the sun comes up. And that tells the brain and the body, that re-registers the circadian rhythm. It's a time clock. But when you wake up in complete darkness and check your phone on full brightness and it's just frying you, you see, most people will think this is trivial and most people will scoff at this, but light is huge. Light is huge, ladies and gentlemen. So, here in the near future, I'm going to show you exactly how to terraform or upgrade your house lighting. Instead of me just being in front of the camera ranting, I'm going to take you and show you how to do it. And show you the exact bulbs. I'm going to show you which Himalayan salt lamps I recommend. I'm going to show you what candles I recommend. I'm going to show you what programs on the computer I recommend so that you can block the blue light and you can sync your devices so that the light throughout the day mimics that of the sun so that you're naturally going through a progression. I'm going to show you how to do this stuff. See, when our ancestors went to sleep, ladies and gentlemen, the sun went down and the fires would be started. Firelight is red and orange light, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't suppress melatonin. In fact, it can actually it can help you get drowsy. You know how comfortable and you know how relaxing it is to look into the flame of a fire? So I have a red light over here. Unfortunately, the screen, it's all black and white black and white right now, but this is a red infrared light that I use for red light therapy. I'm going to talk about that in the near future as well. I'm still experimenting with that. But there's just so many solutions to these problems. And a lot of it comes down to going back to what we were doing 20, 30 years ago. Before all these advanced gadgets came out, these LEDs that have this super intense white blue light that just... I told you guys in a recent video how my wife and I, we did an experiment with LEDs, and we went throughout the house and we changed the light. We went to CFLs, compact fluorescents, and LEDs as well. We outfitted the house with these, and after like a week and a half, we were like, well, why are we both getting headaches? What is going on here? The only thing we did differently, ladies and gentlemen, was change the lights. When we changed those lights back to the incandescents, within about an hour, we felt better. Within a day or within 1 week, not a single headache. I don't get headaches. That's why it was so weird to me. It's like, why am I getting a headache? I never get these. Unless it's a byproduct of my environment. I can hear my cat at the door. I don't know if you guys can hear her. Every time I try to make a video, she tries to interrupt. But lighting's huge, ladies and gentlemen. Why is lighting huge? It's because it takes your brain and it tells it that it's the wrong time of day, and it messes with your inner clock. And your body and your mind is designed to be in a constant biorhythmic cycle, a circadian rhythm, an ebb and a flow with the solar, lunar, and celestial cycles. It's like, I don't know how people live in places like San Francisco or Los Angeles or these big cities where it's just like you are living in like a giant circuit board. You're just being fried. Why do you think there's so much crime in these big cities? Why do you think there's so much like just crazy shit going on? It's because, well, not just drugs and alcohol, but I'm not even going to get into it. Lighting has a lot to do with this, folks. But I believe, or excuse me, I talked earlier in the video about reflecting and stopping and hitting the brakes in life so that you can reassess where you're going. Because you can, if you hit the brakes at the right time, you can change your trajectory in life and upgrade what you're doing so that you have a more favorable outcome, so that you don't end up being a victim to bad decision making, such as wrong foods, bad lighting, breathing, smoking cigarettes and all this other stuff. You better stop while you still have it. Stop taking things for granted. It's very easy to do things that are very unhealthy when you have your health. Let's see if you guys can hear my cat. Hey, Newt. Newt. Yeah? Newt. Cats are weird. When you don't want them to meow, they meow. And when you want them to meow, they don't. Excuse me. Now she's scratching at the door. Coffee, ladies and gentlemen. Think about how much of a difference you can have on your health if you just upgraded your coffee experience. If you drink coffee, and most people do. Just by making it organic and making it with distilled or filtered water, boom. Avoiding massive amounts of chemicals and additives, pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, larvicides, chlorine, chloramine compounds, algicides, cobalts. Newt! Some of these things that we do every day, if we just lightly modified them, folks, we could have drastic changes for the better in the long run. I don't think most people understand this. Just by lightly tweaking things, you can change the effect from the cause so much. Wake up. People continue to ask me what water I drink and do I still drink distilled water? And yes, I do. I don't drink it as often as I used to, but I still drink distilled water. I remineralize it, I restructure. I'm currently drinking mostly filtered water because of the fact that my distiller is currently out of order, but I still do drink distilled water. Anyways, you guys, I just wanted to make a few videos and touch upon a few things and clarify a few things. We live in a garden of shamanism. We live in a shamanic breathing living garden where enlightenment used to be the common state of what we were designed to constantly be in a state of enlightenment, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we were designed to experience. That's what this body was designed to experience perpetually, constantly. But we've fallen so far from that we actually think that the consciousness that we were designed to experience is some occult, mysterious thing that only some sages experience after they lived in a cave for 50 years, chanting mantras in their head, pointing to the west while, whatever the fuck. Enlightenment is not a mystery. Enlightenment was what we were designed to experience. How we've made it this far in such a fallen state is a mystery to me. How the hell we've made it this far is a total mystery to me in such a fallen state. Anyways, folks, I'm going to wrap this one up. I love you, and I hope you have a good day. Peace be with you.